Welcome to the Game Shows Australia or corporategameshows.com.au Red Buzzer Hire Walkthrough, where I'm going to take you through the limitations or the versatility of our Red Buzzer Hire systems. So by this stage, you'd probably be pretty aware that we do large-scale game shows, and that is our specialty. We love doing those. They come in either a 45-minute or an hour option, and they are brilliant. They come out, basically they're a turnkey setup. You book the show, and they are a full show. There's format, structure, comical challenges. There is an operations tech that brings these out to your event. Basically, we just need power, performance space, and an audience, and you've got yourself an amazing and fun show that everybody loves. These also come with our professional hosts who understand a bit of lingo between the tech and the host, which allows for smooth running of the show. And they're also professional entertainers in their own right. The hosts, they're either musical theatre, actors, comedians, sometimes singers. They're fantastic. They know what they're doing on stage. They know how to handle a crowd. They know how to make your event a whole lot of fun. But obviously, those are quite big. I mean, we've had them in small events, we've had them in huge events, but sometimes an office or a group just wants to hire some equipment. So rather than sending those units out with our ops tech, which can get quite costly, we have our Red Buzzer hire system, which you're obviously no doubt familiar with. So I'm going to take you through this so that you have a bit of an idea of what to expect and how to make it work or get the best value for your event. So we'll start with what's in the box, of course. Now, these get shipped out in a black Pelican case about this big by this big. They will either be couriered to you or sent via express post. They're in protective casing inside. And what's inside? There's a few cables just to help you with your setups, but essentially you're going to have however many Red Buzzers you've booked. You're going to have a host remote, which you don't need, you can just use a laptop, but it is a great little piece of versatility. And you have the laptop with the Red Buzzer interface on, as well as a red dongle that connects these via Bluetooth, and another one that's taped in for the remote. So, all right, let's get started with, I think the best place to start is probably some of the most important questions we do get asked. And one of those questions is, do these light up or make sound? The answer is no, and that is great. You really don't want that. Don't be fooled by the sort of grid-looking, speaker-looking bit on there. That isn't a speaker. You don't want these to have speakers. If these had speakers and lights, what would happen is that you have more than 5 people in the room and someone buzzes in, there's only so much volume something of that size can pump out. No, you don't want that. You want it connecting via Bluetooth to something that can output some decent noise. Also, if you've got people around these, you're not going to see them light up anyway. However, if they're connected, which they are, you're going to see it on the screen. If you've got the screen on display, you'll see exactly who or which team has buzzed in, which is awesome. Let's talk about range and where to position this. So being Bluetooth, the recommended range for anything is between, I think, 10 to 15 meters. Maybe it's probably 10 to 12 meters in reality. I would err on the side of caution. I wouldn't go anything more than 9 or potentially even 8 meters. Reason for that is when you've got people coming into your room, into your conference, each one of those people have a cell or a mobile phone, which is going to have some disturbance, some frequency disturbance that kind of shortens the range of Bluetooth. You'll find when there's a lot of people in a room with their phones. Also, there might be Wi-Fi repeaters or routers in the area, again, shortening that range. Typically, our players would have these, or we would have our players with these on the stage as well. Now, this can be operated by the host on the stage. It looks fine to have on a stand there, or it can be side stage. Whoever is operating, sometimes the game show host just want to ask the questions and someone side stage is doing this. So you would have this position not too far from where the buzzers are. Whoever's operating it, be it the host or someone off stage, can manage it via this. It's very quite simple, really quite simple. The range, what have we got? Position of setup. So sometimes if the host is just asking questions and whoever is operating this, this will automatically count your scoring and tell you who buzzed in first and whatnot. It's really all you got to do is press correct or incorrect. You might want someone to reveal the scores, because there's 2 options with that. If you want, you can cut to someone on the side. They might have a mic. They can be your adjudicator who's keeping tally. That's if you want the scores shown at the end. The other option I'll show you in a moment is to have the scores come up after every question. All right. We did have one event where a client had rather decent sized conference and they had a lot going on. They were worried about how easy this would be to manage, so they ended up booking one of our techs to run along and operate this for them. Typically we don't do that, but we can do it in certain circumstances. But hopefully after this video you'll see just how easy this is to operate, but we're happy to add that service on if need be. For that one, what they wanted to do, they wanted to place these on tables around the room. So what we did there, we actually positioned the tech operator front and center of the audience, which meant that we had 10 meters to the right, 10 meters to the left, and 10 meters depth. So you've got a spread of 20 meters there and 10 meters depth. Quite a good radius for picking up signal of these. And like I say, the response is lightning fast. It's instant when someone buzzes in. But again, typically you'd have your players with your host on stage, and yeah, this wouldn't be too far away. All right, let's take a look at what this looks like. I'm going to bring you in on this, and there we go. How's that? I'll get rid of that. There we go. So now you're seeing obviously what I'm tapping here. The reason why you can see that is there is an HDMI out that would allow you to plug into a projector. It's basically screen mirrored, not an extended screen. So whatever you're seeing on your laptop is what's being projected on the screens as well. There's also a 3.5mm audio jack out, which means that you can plug into any local venue sound system that you could plug an iPod or anything with headphones. It's a headphone jack basically. It's a laptop, you plug it in the same as you would do for anything. That means that when people buzz in, they're hearing your buzz in, they're hearing your buzzer, but just not from these. They're hearing it across the room, which is again is exactly what you want. Let's take a look. We'll start with the logo up the top here. Obviously this is our logo. This can be swapped out, so you can have your event logo or your company logo on there. That is fine. Or it's as simple as going to the folder on the desktop, opening it up, looking for the file that says logo. You'll see this logo on there. Save this as something else, and then just save your logo file name as whatever logo file name it is. And then as soon as you open up this program, it will automatically have put your logo in place. It just reads in the source code, insert this file name. If your logo is that file name, guess what? That's coming up in the system. Just please at the end, put ours back. That would be lovely. Thank you. Moving across to settings now. Let's take a look here what we've got. Looks daunting initially, looks like a lot of information, but it really is simple, and there is some fantastic versatility here. I'm going to start off with this one. I love this one, standard quiz. So standard quiz is basically the operating system that most people have this set in. It means that everyone that has a buzzer, cool, they're a person or a team, or you can have a team of say 2 or maybe even 3 people sat around a buzzer and they can each buzz in. Alternatively, what you can do is have, let's say you've got 9 buzzers, but you want 3 teams. You can allocate buzzers 1, 2, and 3 to team A, 4, 5, and 6 to team B, 7, 8, and 9 to team C, so that whomever buzzes in, whether they get it correct or incorrect, their allocated points or loss of points will be contributed to their team's score, which is a really cool feature, so that everyone can have their own buzzer, but teams are in play as well, so they are playing as teams. Really great feature. That's team play, obviously, right there. Multiple buzzers are grouped into teams for scoring purposes. Quick draw and speed race, they're like your typical lightning round and quiz shows. We don't even use them, but again, you are welcome to if you like. Have a play with it. Right answer points, that's the value of points that they will get if they get the question correct. So currently it's set on 5, change it to 10. 2 down from there you'll see wrong answer points factor. That's obviously the value of points they lose if they get it incorrect. You can have them not lose any points, that would be 0. You can have correct answers 10, incorrect answers 5, or 10 for correct, lose 10 for incorrect. It's fun, it's quite funny when people get down to 0. In our large-scale game shows, our digital scoring on the front of each podium, they can go into negative numbers, which makes it a lot of fun. Our operations tech have a little sound library of sound effects. They have quite a personality in those shows. They are a lot of fun, but in this instance, these can just go down as far as 0, which can be quite amusing. All these ones are fairly self-explanatory. We don't really need to cover things like font cover. Let's go down to show back to menu buttons. So if you are using the interface, if it is visually on the screen, you might not want the back to menu button on there. Fair enough. You might want to toggle in and out of scores at some point, maybe at the end. Fair enough. The one down from there is show score screen automatically. If this is checked, which it currently is, that means that after every question, you will see the scores. So the stages go like this. You have the get ready to buzz. That's when no one can buzz in. The host is going to ask it. The next stage, upon clicking, and again, you're just toggling through and correct or incorrect. Host presses the button, that opens the buzzers up. It says buzzers alive or whatever it says, buzzers on. That means someone can buzz in. They do buzz in, it shows the name or of the person or team that buzzed in. After that, you would say correct or incorrect, so you see correct or incorrect on screen. And then the fifth option, if this is checked, it shows the scores after every question. If it's not checked, it doesn't show the scores, and you can just check them at will, or you can look at the scores at the end of the show. Some clients like to have the scores a secret to reveal at the end. Some like the top scorers in a scoreboard to be shown the whole way through. Completely your own choice. What have we got up this side? We have another great feature up here. I love this the after wrong answers. So with our larger scale game shows, what we tend to do is someone buzzes in, a team buzzes in. If they get the answer wrong, we will say incorrect. We'll give the answer to the audience, and then we'll move straight on to the next question. Just keeps it streamlined and flowing. But that's because where do you reopen a question up? If someone's buzzed in, it locks out the other players. At what point is it okay to reopen a question? Because you've got people go, oh, and they got the answer from what the person on stage has said. It just didn't seem fair. This feature that's in this saying display next player in original sequence is great. If you are a client that wants to reopen the question up, you don't even have to reopen it. What this does, as you know, these lock out other players. So let's say player 5 buzzes in. Player 6 was a split second after player 5. Player 5 gets to answer, obviously, because they're the first ones to buzz in. But if they get it wrong, the great feature about this is when you press wrong on here, it will automatically show who was the next team to buzz in, which is a wonderful feature. I think it's brilliant, keeps it very fair. Again, each to their own. These the time permitted to buzz in, 1 to 10 seconds countdown timers, you can have those. Most people don't, there's not really a need for it. Moving over to sounds, these are the sounds that are assigned to every buzzer. Every buzzer has a different sound. If you have WAV files or sounds that you would like to specifically use for your event, you can load them to the assets folder as well. Then you just select them in here, find your audio, assign them, and that's great. Just again, please return them back to what they were before you change them around. Going out to the menus. So I don't recall whether this take I covered it or another take, but some clients want to have questions on screen. Now, this particular interface doesn't have allocated slots to be entering your questions. Our big game shows do have that option, but we don't use it. We don't even use screens. We can have like client logos or their specific game animation or visual on the screen. Sure, we can do that just like this logo, but we don't put the questions on the screen, and there's very good reasons for this. First, this is quite simple, straightforward. If you wanted the questions on the screen as well, you could do that with a PowerPoint setup, and some clients have done that. I try and deter people from doing that for a couple of reasons. First of all, for some reason, clients like to position the players in front of the screen. And if they can't see the screen, then they end up doing that a lot, and it takes away from the show. Sometimes there'll be a screen behind one team and the other team can see it very clearly, which is also a bit unfair. But the real reason why we don't put questions on screen is after 20 years of doing this sort of thing with various variations on these shows, is that if the question's on the screen, people buzz in way before the host has even finished asking the question. Sometimes they will buzz in as soon as they see the question come up, and then it locks everyone else, and then they're reading it and not get the answers correct. Now, yes, the players are important, but equally as important is the audience experience. So you want those questions to be able to be answered. There is the feature, obviously, because the buzzers don't go live until the host has triggered them to be open. Now, that is a great thing, but even still, someone sitting there going isn't really what you want. You want the host to be able to just ask the question. Near the end of the question, they trigger the next scene, which opens up the buzzers. Then people buzz in. It's just a better experience all round. Keeps things on track as well. All right, where do we have, that is about this. So we've got the player names. You can have up to 50 teams and or individuals playing at once. So you can have 50 red buzzers if you like. You've got the test buzzers seen down here. So if you were to hit 1, 2, 3 or any of these numbers, you're going to see these. All right, make sure that the red buzzers are switched on at the on switch at the back, but then they will buzz too. So let's hit 6. There you go, 6 is buzzed in over there, it's flashing. You see 5 flashing down there. I'm not even going to bother scrolling down. We can see it, it's there. Great, they work. You don't need to wallet them, just a little press. It's better. All right, so we go back out to the menu. So you've gone to your venue, you've set these in place, you've set this in place, you've done that test to make sure the connectivity is working fine. Never had a problem with it. As you saw then, lightning fast responses, which was great. We'll go down to display. This is what the scoreboard looks like, the top scorers. I just did that in the previous demo, so let's reset that. You can manually go in and out of there. You can reveal it at the end, or you can have that automatically show up after each question. So let's take a look at that. This is what the board looks like as it begins with the host. Your logo would be here. I'm going to show you something. Look, nothing happens. That is because they're not opened up yet. This is the point where the host would do their intro. Then they would ask the question. As the host gets towards the last question, it's pretty much the time that you want to be opening them up. So what would the next question be? At that time. Now, buzzers are on. People can see that. Again, you can have this on screen. You don't have to have it on screen. It's up to you. There's a sound effect that you can assign that will let everybody know that the buzzers are open. They can buzz in, or you can just have the visuals, or you can have both. Once this is on screen, look, 5 is buzzed in. Obviously, I just typed in 5. You would have the team name or the individual's name. 6 cannot buzz in. That's because they've been locked out. So if you'd selected multiple, that option that was on the right hand side of settings, if 5 got it wrong, then it would open up for 6 to have a shot at answering. But we don't have that checked. So we're just toggling through. It shows the scoreboard. No one gets any points for that. What do you do? No one can buzz in. Buzzers alive. 6 can buzz in. 5 can't buzz in because 6 beat them to it. That's correct. Yep, look, automatic scores jumping up. So remember that you can change the value of the scores going up or down, entirely up to you. And that's how it works. It just triggers all the way through like that until you reach the end. Again, scores at the very end or scores after each question, entirely up to you. Questions on a screen, you don't need them, you can have them. You might have an image on the screen that you've got a question relating to. That way people aren't just buzzing in, they're having a look at it. It just gives you more visuals. But again, keep it simple, make it fun. And that is basically all there is to this. They're a great setup. We have a lot of happy clients using these, and hopefully you'll be some too. If you're interested in our larger scale game shows, they're amazing. There's comical challenges, audio clips, general knowledge, mixed media, multiple choice. They are so much fun. But the whole thing is fun, and we hope you have as much fun as we do playing with these. And thanks. If there's any questions that you have, please send them through. We're always more than happy to answer those. And happy game shows.